Is now. I see that there are some people already in the waiting room. Let's see. It's recording.
Maybe we can just wait a bit. This will be fun. If we have like a very small group, that's actually okay because there will be a lot of discussions and um, it really doesn't matter if we have only a few people. You said we're expecting 18 and usually half of that, yeah, that's still a good number. Like 4 people per group is still a really good number to do the workshop.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be more intimate too. Um, Maybe right now I can open for some people to join and start like we have some introduction to do, so I can
Mhm.
start doing that, and so it doesn't take too much time from your actual workshop. How about that?
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
Okay,
Thank you,
let's
Aim.
do that. Thank you both. I will spotlight myself for now. Uh, uh, um, okay. Okay, and I will let the participants in now. Meet all. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hi, everyone. Welcome to AACA. How are you? As always, please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. What's your name? Where are you tuning in from? Um, I will wait for a little bit more for more people to join in, and I would love to start the session soon. Okay, have some people. Yeah, feel free to introduce in the chat yourself in the chat. I can see some familiar faces and some new faces. So welcome everyone. So happy that everyone is here. Welcome to AACA Mini. Today we have very special speakers, and honestly, I'm really excited too because it will be also my first workshop related to futures thinking, and I'm really excited to learn from our speakers today. My name is Aim. My pronoun is she, her, and I'm from Thailand. I am the Movement Engagement Coordinator at AAA, and I will be facilitating the session today. Um, just a quick reminder, you all know who joined us already know that we have a housekeeping notes. So we would like to ask everyone to keep this a safer space for everyone. So be mindful of other attendees, different social positions and identities. If you come across any problems, feel free to privately message me. Everyone, including AA staff, speakers, and participants, must follow our code of conduct. In a nutshell, just please be respectful and kind to each other as you always are. And if you have any tech issues, also please don't hesitate to let me know as well, so I can assist you in that. If you feel comfortable, feel free to rename yourself to your name and your pronouns and country that you are from. So today's session that we have is Sentient Horizons, Just Futures for the Non-Human World. And this workshop will take about 1.5 hours. Today's program, we will start with a presentation on the introduction to foresight and futures thinking. And then we will practice and have some exercise in breakout rooms that will be led by our two speakers. And then towards the end, we can come back and have an open discussion together. During the session, please keep your microphone off, but feel free to type your feedback or any comments that you have throughout the session. We will have a chance to ask and discuss doubts that we have towards the end. Feel free to participate in any way you feel comfortable. If you feel like you want to open your microphone and ask the question yourself directly to our speakers at the Q&A session at the end, you can do that. But if not, feel free to put in the chat and I can read it out loud for you. And as you already see, this session is recorded and will be published on our social media later so that anyone who cannot join today can also watch it too. Okay, so now I would like to introduce you to our speakers of today. We have two speakers today. So first, I would like to introduce you to Peachie. Her pronoun is she, her. Peachie is a Filipina climate reality leader of the Climate Reality Project, founded by Nobel laureate and former US Vice President Al Gore. She is also known as Peachie Keen and Green, a social media platform of hers where she shares her environmental and social justice activism, citizen science, futurism, and humanities, and also conservation works. Peachie is also a co-organizer of VegFest Pilipinas, the country's longest running vegan festival, and also became the biggest one in Asia since 2018. She is a Futures Thinking 101 workshop designer and facilitator and a Foresight practitioner. Please welcome Peachie. You can click the reaction
Hello.
for Peachie as well. Hello.
I'm excited to be doing futures with everyone here.
Thank you so much, Peachie, for joining us. And our next speaker is Shiela. Shiela is an independent consultant for social development and foresight with 20 years of experience in the Philippines, Cambodia, and globally. Shiela is currently engaged with United Age, a justice-based social enterprise, as a foresight and engagement director, an instructor at the APGSPM certificate course on foresight and future thinking. She is also an active member of the ICSC Scanning the Horizon community and member of the APF since 2020. She is in her second year already as the AACA Philippines advisor, and she has been vegan and animal rights activist since 2015. She is passionate about environment, climate, and liberation for all. Welcome, Shiela. Thank you so much both for joining us today.
Hi, everyone. Aim, should I proceed to my talk?
Yes, please go ahead. I can
Okay.
start sharing my
Let me
screen.
share my, thank you very much, Aim, and hello, everyone. I have 20 minutes, and I'm going to introduce to you a bit of foresight. This is something that we do for 3 days, actually, but I'm going to condense it into 20 minutes. So let's see how that could happen. Okay, I hope everybody's seeing my PowerPoint. Okay, thank you. So we're going to talk about just futures for the non-human world. Um, how come my my mouse is not working? There you go. So I've always wondered why, when we talk about foresight, governments, different institutions, businesses, citizens, and technology are always the focus of the things when we talk about the future. No, so outside of it, outside of these conversations, are things that are really, really important that should be taken into consideration when we're talking about the future. No, so for example, the environment, farmed animals, companion animals, native fauna, which we call wildlife, and of course, future progeny. And the future progeny doesn't only refer to humans. No, what about the future plants, animals, the future environment? These are all things that we should talk about when we talk about the futures. And a lot of people think of animal rights as a niche concern, but this is actually very deeply connected to food systems, climate adaptation, to really important issues such as public health, biodiversity, and of course, ethics. This is really important. In fact, when we talk about climate change, we talk about habitat loss, species migration, extinction risk, human native fauna conflict. These are issues affecting animals In terms of biotechnology, we talk about gene editing, the Extinction Project, synthetic biology. When we talk about urbanization, we talk about shrinking habitats, etc. These issues are deeply connected to issues of animal rights, even artificial intelligence. For example, precision animal farming systems, automated farming, animal monitoring and surveillance. These are all issues. So when we talk about artificial intelligence, we're not just talking about, people using it for creating literature or drawings or whatever have you. It is deeply connected to animal rights. But the problem is, what is the issue that is being experienced by everyone working for transformative change is also the problem of animal rights advocates. We cannot really just focus on present day harms. Of course, that is important because animals are being killed at this moment. Millions of animals are being killed every hour. And we have to really understand future drivers and how we can reshape both risk and opportunities when it comes to animal rights. We have to think more longer term, right? Because the world is changing, and futurists call the world now a VUCA world. It's a very volatile world, an uncertain world, a chaotic world, and an ambiguous world. And all of this together really create that feeling of uncertainty, that feeling of what's going to happen in the future, what's going to happen now, no? And this is something that really should propel everyone working for animal rights to think more about the future. I'm sorry, I'm kind of in a rush because I have 20 minutes. So it's surprising because even if we do the scanning, which is a Foresight tool, using the framework of STEEP, such as sociocultural, technological, economic, environmental, and political aspects, if we look at the changes going on or happening right now, we can see that there are a lot of things that are pointing towards transformation in the way we treat animals. No, there is a lot of things. These are weak signals. Some are trends already, and some are emerging issues that point to real transformation that might happen in the future. So if that is the case, why is it really difficult for us to believe that animal liberation is, even gonna happen, is possible? It is because of the historical and structural exploitation. Animal exploitation has been around for ever since, humans probably learned to think that I need to eat. it's as old as human itself, because we are the latecomers here in the family of creation. But ever since, we've been using animals, exploiting animals, no? And speciesism is normalized, so that it's very difficult for some people to even grasp the possibility of animal liberation. And of course, there is psychological distance and cognitive dissonance when we talk about animals. Some people say they love animals, but they don't really understand what love of animals mean. They only love animals if they are their animal companions. They are cute and cuddly. But if they are swimming in their own manure, no, they don't love them. There's a psychological distance. We create that space. And of course, erased empathy. And empathy is erased because of the historical and structural exploitation and the normalization of speciesism. Also, linear thinking and path dependency. We think that this is the way things are. Animals are being abused. It's going to be like that in the future, no? But of course, it's not going to be like that in the future. It's just how we were programmed to think. We lack imagination. We cannot grasp that animal liberation is even possible. And of course, pathological short-termism. This is the term of Roman Krasnasic. He said that our short-termism is really, really bad for our future. And when we say our, it's for all of us, everyone in the planet, in the creation. So it's really difficult when we are here in the now to really think of multiple possible futures. There are, of course, many different futures. There are plausible futures, possible futures, projected futures, probable futures, and of course, what we want, preferable futures. And all of these have the potential to happen. But if we don't have that kind of long-term thinking, we don't even know that there is a possibility for this even happening. So we all need foresight. Foresight is that capacity to think systematically and, of course, with others, using a multidisciplinary approach to explore long-term futures. No, it's not just 5 years or 3 years, but really long-term. Other organizations are thinking about what they call the long now, like 100 years, 500 years into the future. And we should really be able to stretch our imagination to think that far. And so we need to be able to utilize the capacity we call futures thinking. Everyone has this, but the problem is it's not nurtured, no? As a kid, we are thinking about the future. We have imagination. But then, because of how we are programmed in school and by our community and families, this kind of long-term thinking, imagination, and openness towards the future become smaller and smaller. This is something that we have to reclaim, and this is something that we really have to nurture again, because we have this, and we have to make it an important capacity for everyone, all the more for people working towards animal rights. So there are a lot of elements in futures thinking, and I'm gonna go through this really, really fast. And please, if you have more questions later on, we will do that, but let me go through this really, really fast. So the futures is multiple. It's future with an S. It's not just one future. So linear thinking and path dependency, we should stop thinking like that. There are many different infinite alternative futures that might happen. Of course, we have to look at a longer term view. It's not just tomorrow, it's not just next week, but what happens in 30 years, in 50 years, and how can we shape that if we want something to happen? And we look at different signals, drivers, and trends. When I showed you the steep analysis, a few slides back, I showed you that there are so many things that are signaling change right now. No? There are so many things that are happening that might point to that kind of future that we want for animal liberation. Of course, adaptability and resilience are key elements, of course, of futures thinking. We have to use futures thinking so that we are able to adapt into the changing world, or the VUCA world that we are talking about. And of course, because this is the future and the future does not exist yet, it is full of uncertainty and complexity, right? These are things that we need to contend with when we are talking about the future. And of course, the futures is not about prediction. Futures thinking is not about prediction. It is about recognizing multiple possibilities. This is really important. And of course, it's about creativity and innovation. How are we going to transform the future if we have the same kind of thinking that we have in the present? We have to innovate. We have to think differently. And of course, emergence over path dependency. We cannot just depend on what we think is going to happen right now. We have to look at what is going on and what might emerge. And then, of course, we also include systems and design thinking, because these are essential things when we are designing future worlds, no? So therefore, when we use our foresight, we have to create new systems and imagine that system, make it as tangible as possible. And that is what we call foresight. And of course, it really needs participation. So multi stakeholders who is not in the room, we have to find out who is not in the room, who are not able to represent themselves like animals. This is really, really important. And for me as a justice worker, really central to what futures thinking is about. Of course, the futures is a space of agency, not destiny. This is not written in stone. We have, the capacity to shape what we want to happen in the future. It is basically about short-term versus long-term thinking. And short-term thinking, the reason why we call this pathological is because this is the reason why all of the problems that we are experiencing right now in our personal life, in our social life, in our political life, globally, environmentally, is because of our short-termism. No, we lack that futures thinking. So we don't just use this as a tool, but it is a mindset. It's a lifestyle and a way of thinking. It's a lens actually by which we see the world. And I really love this quote by Napoleon Hill. He said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So this for me is very, very good. This for me is very, very hopeful. Why? Because animal liberation is really possible. The evolution of moral concern, we have seen this. In our historical expansion before, we just focused on our tribe. And then we started focusing on our nations and our race, and then on gender. And now in future generations, it is also possible for us to expand our circle of compassion, our moral concern towards animals. When we talk about ecological justice, when we talk about non-anthropocentric futures, when we talk about intergenerational justice, all of this can include and should include animals. All of this need to put animals at the center because they are the ones who cannot express themselves. They are the ones who cannot fight for themselves. They are the ones whose voice we don't hear and we don't really understand what they are trying to say. So for us to have that kind of future that is just for all, that just futures that we are talking about, it has to extend from the humans, anthropocentric, towards ecocentric, and then including, of course, the environment and animals. But then this, as I mentioned, future progeny a while ago, it doesn't just include that. It also includes the future animals, the future environment, the future humans, and all of this has to be created in the future to create what we call just futures. We know that future generations will inherit our institutions, our technologies, our ecosystems, even our relationships with animals. So the change has to start happening now, or else that historical and structural injustices and exploitation that we are observing now and seeing right now will continue to happen. It will be a cycle. It will be a continuous cycle and an ending cycle that will not end if we don't change the way we think and the way we do things. So we have to start thinking differently for the future generations to inherit something different also. So there is a book, The Good Ancestor, and I really, really like this book, but I would like to insert, if I would write a book, this book probably I would insert for all species. That is the kind of thinking that we have to really embody. It doesn't only have to be about humans in the future. It's also about animals. It's also about the environments and habitats. It's also about animals, whether they are in the wild or living with us as companions, whether they are being farmed now and how will they be in the future if they are liberated from this kind of exploitation. And it's great because imagination is the currency for of futures thinking. It's free. We all have it. It's an inherent capacity. Therefore, if we really want to create that future, we have to start with our mind. We have to start to imagine a different future. And Jim Dator, one of the foremost futurists, he said, any useful idea about the future should first appear to be ridiculous. And I think a lot of people think that animal liberation is ridiculous. And this is the reason why, this is really the reason why right now we should talk about it and make it appear as ridiculous as possible. Talk about animal liberation. Don't just talk about welfare. Talk about things that are really so different from what we see right now, for people to expand their imagination and also have that capacity to think that animal liberation is also possible. So this saying by the Cheshire Cat says, if you don't know where you are going, any road will get you there. We don't want to be brought to any road, to anywhere that we don't know, no? When we travel, we want a certain destination, right? So we have to know, where are we going? What is the pathway, and what is it that where we want to go? What is the vision? No? So we have to think of that vision. If the vision is animal liberation, we have to think about it. We have to talk about it. We have to act on it. No? Because thinking about the future, even the act of just thinking about the future, will cause the future to change. This is what is called the familiarity contraction principle. It says that the future is one of the nature's greatest forces. Whatever we want in the future, if we talk about it, if we focus on it, a lot of things appear in our vision, in our periphery, that relates to it, right? It's like widening your lens. If you are so interested about fashion, everything you see is fashion. But if you want to see about animal liberation, you see the possibilities of that future. That becomes an attractor, and everything around it happens. That's why activists see this very, very clearly. And we have to help others see this too. We have to show them the vision and help them imagine that this is a possibility. So without foresight, activism is always reactive. We are always fighting with yesterday's issues. Of course, these are important, but then we will just continue to be in the loop of reaction if we don't get out of that. We really have to take into account, how we are going to shape this so that we can shift and we can transform laws, cultures, and economies, right? So with futures thinking, we use the futures to change the present. This is what Suhail Inayatullah said. So when somebody says, why are we even talking about the futures? We have already a lot of issues in the present that we need to address. But actually, the future is an active aspect of the present. We have to talk about the future to change what we are experiencing today. We have to develop our futures consciousness, our awareness of time, our agency, our systems and responsibility, and develop our anticipatory thinking. Use our foresight to prepare for change. But then we also have to ask the right questions. It's not about what will the future be? The question should be, what might the future be? How can I shape the future? And how can I achieve the vision that we have for animal liberation? The right questions are really important. So we all know that in all of our problems, those that are closest to the problem are also the closest to the solution, but they are farthest from the resources and the power. And this is true to the humans as well as the environment. For example, when we look at this mining thing, we see that, oh my gosh, how can we solve this? Just look at nature itself. It will teach us. And people who have needs, ask them what they need. And look at animals and see how the solutions are in their eyes. They tell us, how can they be happy and how can they live a life that is, worthy because they themselves have value. They have intrinsic value. So as people working for change, we must have that agency. We must have that influence to create the just futures for the whole of creation. Let me just wrap up. And not just for ourselves, because as we have seen in the earlier slides, the moment that we just think about humans, we are going to have a lot of different problems. We have to think of others as well, the environment and animals as well. So we are going to do a short workshop. We are going to look at the causal layered analysis. This was developed by Sohail and Ayatollah. And this is a tool to unpack the realities and try to transform the future. We use this to really understand the levels of causality. What is causing the problems that we see in the present, and how can we transform that? So Sohail and Ayatollah said the deeper that we go into the iceberg, the longer it is to change. Meaning from the surface, it's easier to change. But the deeper we go, the mindset that is harder to change. But then we have to go deep and go the other way around in terms of the litanies. The litanies are the things that we are seeing in a problem, the surface level expressions of the problem. Systems are the things, the structural, the policies, the budgets. These are the things that make these litanies happen or possible. But then even lower than that are worldviews, are ways of thinking that create systems. Under these worldviews, there are myths and metaphors that even create the worldviews, which make us create systems and so on. But then we have to go deeper into these layers of causality and try to transform what will be the new myths and metaphors so that we can transform the future. What will be the new worldviews and the new systems and litanies that we have to experience. To change, transform. So you will see this in your Miro board when we go there later, and we will look at that. So liberation really starts in the mind, but we know that the moment that we start thinking differently, that's already a very important action. But really, every avalanche begins with the movement of a single snowflake. And this is how we create that avalanche of change. So thank you very much. And I give you to Peachie. I will show the Miro board right now. So AIM, kindly share the Miro board. Thank you. And the Miro link.
All right. Thank you so much, Sheila, for that insightful 101 and for igniting that liberation, animal liberation fire. And since we have ignited that with Sheila's talk, our workshop right now will be doing a transformative exercise. Because I know as advocates and activists, we have encountered that, activism burnout, and we always feel, we're hitting a hard wall, or we're stuck between a hard place and a rock, that kind of situation. And this is why we really chose this tool, the causal layered analysis, so we can also practice a way of shifting our mindsets, because it's also an exercise. It's kind of like a muscle, how we get out of our habits, how we get out of our limiting beliefs, and so on and so forth. So for this one, don't worry if this is your first time to encounter a Miro board. It'll just be easy. We'll help you populate the sticky board as well. So we'll divide the group into two. So one of the group one will be addressing the futures of animal rights in Asia in 2050. And the second group will be doing the plant-based diet in Asia in 2050. So we worked with 2050, so just we can get, the sweet spot between 10 years and 100 years. So just in the middle, like within a generation. And we'll work per row and column, 5 minutes per section. So in the reality column, reality 2026, we'll do 5 minutes per litany, systems, worldviews, myths, and metaphors. And then we'll do like a U-turn, kind of similar if you have encountered a theory U model. And this is important because we need to change our metaphors first, because that shapes the values, and then it goes up. It creates the systems and then the litany. So for this, just kindly let AIM know which of the group or topic you would wish to participate in, and then we'll break out into 2 groups.
Thank you so much. How much time do we have for this? 40 minutes, right? For the activity. Okay. I will open the breakout room now, and you can choose the room that you want to be in. Okay.
Please share the link to the Miro so that they can also click on the Miro link. Thank you, Amy.
I've shared the link on the chat. So for those who can, please go to the link directly. And right now it should pop up to your screen 2 rooms that you can choose from: animal rights and plant-based diet. Please choose the topic that you want to engage with. If you're ready, you can click join, and one of the speakers will see you there. It's not popping up for you. Okay, I can add you. Not sure if I can add. Oh, now I can see. Steph can go to plant-based. Who needs help to? Okay, Nona also plant-based. If you don't see your screen popping up, let me know. I can also manually assign your room to. Poppy for animal rights. Yes, got it. George, would you like to participate in animal rights topic or plant-based diet topic? I can assign for you. Either? Okay, George, I will assign you to animal rights then. And maybe Joaquin, do you have trouble? Okay, perfect. Let's see this. Okay, I think everyone has the room to join.
Yeah, okay, so I'll talk like from experience and from also collecting different assumptions and narratives from different people. So it's a multicultural approach, like what Sheila mentioned, and it's very important because it's not just about asking who's not in the room or who is in the room, but also trying to know what their worldviews are. So we also chose the CLA tool because you can use it in its own method or as your own participation program. But sometimes as futures, we are asked, so do you know the answer? You know, do you know how to do it in 2030, what the answers are? And we always say, or at least a good futures would say, we don't know the answer. And we're trying to co-create it with you. Because we're coming here trying to understand that even though we all belong to Asia, we all have different contexts. We all have different experiences when it comes to animal advocacy or even our worldviews about animals, even if we're in the advocacy space. And it's very important to thresh things out. Try to get to know each other's temperature and even each other's activities, knowledge, and even the subconscious leanings or inclination when it comes to animal advocacy. And for here, we achieve meaning, structure, and perspective when we get to understand the worldviews of others, because we don't want to be stuck. And that's the very thing. When you try to come in, any space and say, I know the answer to this problem, that's where we get stuck. And that's where change, hits a dead end. So if we are going to do this together, and that's how I also use this in my own work, I try to come in as the Monday morning issues just to get out of the single loop learning, because we need to learn and unlearn, right? So we want to ask, what is your metaphor of the future? You have to know it from your CEOs, from your volunteers, from your peers, colleagues, and cohorts, because transformative foresight is all about bringing agency. And in order to gain that agency, you have to have everyone voice out where they're coming from and what their insights are, or even their backgrounds or experiences are. Because then you would be falling into the use futures trap, meaning you're going to propose a strategy that's based from your own culture or own worldview, and then you're just repackaging, let's say, a Western ideology into your own context or own culture, and that may not be sitting well, especially if you're a grassroots movement or if you're trying to bring down policies and changes from different sections or on a cascading effect. So for me, that's how I use not only foresight, but even with this tool, that's how we do an introduction or like a jump off point for others. For me.
Thank you, Peachie. We have question from Steph in the chat. I think this is more practical based on the exercise that we just did. So she asked, how incredible do the inputs have to be? For example, aliens. Is it too incredible to say in 2050 we will already have contact with aliens and we will feel like how animals feel right now? Very creative question. Thank you, Steph. Anyone want to answer?
Should I reply, Teach? Okay, so thinking about aliens and ridiculous things is really important. When we are exercising and flexing our foresight muscles, these are really important. Think of ridiculous things. But when we are using the tools for practical things and actions for a movement, like the animal rights movements, we always have to go with plausibility. So even if the future does not exist, we still provide evidence towards that future. And the evidence is actually in scanning. You will see the weak signals, what they call the weak signals, the emerging issues, the trends. These are the things that we are seeing in the present, and these are pockets of the future. So it's not wrong to think of like different things coming, like disruptors and black swans, as we call it in foresight. That's really, really useful. That exercise of thinking ridiculous things stretches our foresight muscles. But if you're doing strategic foresight planning, for example, for the animal rights movement in a certain country, you work within the plausibility. So that's it. Yeah, flexing your foresight muscles. Thank you, Steph.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really love how, at least through the really introduction session, foresight make me feel not ashamed or not afraid of bringing maybe stupid ideas or unrealistic thoughts, because as we socialize within this society, within these conditions that we are imposing, it really restricts our ability to imagine. And I feel like only this session alone encouraged me so much to be more brave in thinking about just world, thinking about liberation in a way that it doesn't have to just based on the restrictions that we have right now. So yeah, that's really cool. Thank you so much. Any more questions before we move on to the next activity and the last one? Yes,
I love that aim. I call that foresight courage. Actually, foresight really gives us courage. It really makes us, be bolder in our thinking and more radical in our thinking. Thank you, Aim.
Yeah, Poppy, would you like?
Thank you, Anne. Steph, you can go after. Okay. Thank you, Sheila, and thank you, Richie. I know the plant-based team got to done the job very well done. I think I want to address questions about what is your tips and trick when people feel very like pessimisms about this future thinking. I think it's very easy for us to feel negative and to feel that, and it can drag down the team group effort. So I want to hear from you, what is the tips and trick to, kind of like comforting each other in this process of thinking. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Poppy, for that. And 100%, I feel you because from experience, I have already reached my burnout phase a couple of years ago. And of course, you're, going against powers that be. So we understand how that feels in this space. But I think two things just for me. Like I always tell my mentees or other people I work with in this space, like, because we're all about changing the system, changing the world, changing mindsets and perspectives. The first thing you should also realize that the change you may want to have may not be achieved within your lifetime, but you still move forward and you still sow the seeds of change, because it's a form of ego killing for me too. Like when I ask, why do I want change? You have to ask yourself, where does it come from? Is it a saviorism thing? Or is it more noble? Like, of course, there are animals and humans suffering, and I want to change that because, it's all about empathy. And those are some of the personal questions you need to ask yourself. So for them, they also find it helpful when they realize that even if I'm predicting it, the result that I would want may not happen here, even until my last days, my golden age, but I'm sowing it nonetheless, because like what Sheila mentioned, it's also about inheriting, the future generations inheriting our kind of worldviews and metaphors. And if we do not even make an effort to prevent destructive systems again from crystallizing from our kind of mindset and metaphors that still exist until today, that would, for me, I feel like it's just throwing in the towel really early or in this life. And then the second one I would always encourage for them to do, especially when it comes to foresight, is, hold on to the power of storytelling, because storytelling, it may be underrated for other industries or for other people who haven't come across the power of storytelling. But that's why we touched on metaphors and narratives, because once you shift the narrative or your own metaphor, you would see that you are also shaping worldviews. And if you keep, especially for people who work in the communications part or marketing part, what is the narrative that you want to put out there for at least people to take a look at it and say, hey, why not? At least get it out there. Tell your own narrative, especially the metaphor that you would wish to have in the future for future people to have in this space. And, bit by bit, you would see there would be some shaping and shifting of worldviews. And then from the worldviews, we're creating systems from the grassroots, or even when we collaborate with different stakeholders or actors. And then that creates our litany, within a generation or 10 years time. And we've seen that, from pandemic, we've seen the 600% rise of plant-based businesses because we've seen what the COVID can do. But I hope we don't have another disruptor to learn our lessons, right? So at least we get to tell the stories that we want for people to, reflect on. That's for me.
Thank you so much. We still have one more thing that we need to do, right, Peachie?
Sure, just a mentee questions. Mhm.
Okay, before that, would you mind if I take a group photo first? And then, yeah, If you feel comfortable, please turn on your camera, and I will take a picture of us. But if you don't feel comfortable, it's also okay. Okay, gonna count. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you so much. Over to you, Peachy.
Sure. Okay, just for this, we have two simple questions for everyone. So I think AIM will be opening a Menti board. Okay, so we'll be sharing in the chat the Menti link. You can go to mentimeter.com and you can input, okay, I'll put it in the chat as well, this code. Or you can scan it. You can scan the QR code here and answer our two questions for tonight. So the first question would be, what would be or what are your key takeaways for this session? A word, a phrase, okay. Yes, you can go to menti.com. Okay, I see. Okay, key takeaway, keep imagining the future. Okay, I like it. Trailblazer. I see hope, imagination. Metaphors is powerful. And then dare to imagine. Okay, like that. Okay. Courage. I see the foresight, courage that Sheila was talking about. Right. Ideas build futures. Okay. Integrity. If you think it's not, okay, I think there's a continuation with that. Okay. Okay. Imagination is persistence. A new lesson. Impossible. Yes. Thank you for that. Okay. Ideas. All right. For the second question, we have, okay, I am not alone. Thank you. So how do you plan to use foresight in your animal rights activism moving forward? I know this is just one tool, but any idea you may have from either the causal layered analysis or from Sheila's presentation, like how you feel you'd use it or utilize it moving forward, it's okay. There's no right or wrong answer here. Okay. Maybe included in monthly meetings as a check-in question. How do you imagine futures of our project? Okay. We have done it in 2005. After 20 plus years, I guess we have to do it again. All right. Creating communicational or video campaigns for people to imagine a beautiful future. Okay, keep learning and adjusting our projects. So use the iceberg method to think of messages to share with the public. I plan to probably do it when onboarding and offboarding volunteers in the future, included in a training of new fellows from their own personal life and do it in animal issue context. And inspire people to think long term and to be bold about our goal first of all. Okay, act local with global impact. And keep encouraging people to think beyond today. Okay, these are beautiful answers. And thank you. And we hope we can also assist or aid in whatever futures question you may have. Advocate in a unique way. Unique. All right. Okay, last, use it when people are bored, uninspired, demotivated. Okay, I hope that for those who feel like they're bored, uninspired, demotivated, or perhaps at their ends with, we hope that the session today or even the CLA kind of kick back some of the motivation dear and I hope and I know how challenging it can be, to be in this space and all. And in case, like what Sheila mentioned, you wish to continue or use the Miro link, we can give that so you can review it and study it. You can also apply it in your own organizations and groups. So thank you so much, AIM, for this space, giving us a platform and all.
Thank you, everyone, for participating. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you,
Nana,
everyone.
Thank you,
Tayo, and
everyone. After
See you.
you log out from the Zoom, there will be a link for feedback form. Please fill that as well so we can improve our next session. But thank you again so much for Shiela and Peachie for your time and for your wisdom that you're sharing with us. It's so empowering. And I know that 1.5 hours is not enough at all to learn about future thinking, and it's like a skill that we need to practice. So thank you so much for introducing us to this amazing mindset, and I'm sure that it will grow into something like beautiful for inside of us in the future and for the movement as well. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a nice
Thank
day,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Have a nice day and night.
Weekend.
Good night.